Hello, this is Mr. Deshawn of the Parenting Network, part of Team Relate, Relationship Education, Leading Adolescents Toward Empowerment. And today I'm going to share with you from our Path to Success curriculum. And actually, I'll share with you our first lesson, which is actually about success itself. And we're going to talk a little bit about success, how do you define it, and also that there's a positive and negative success that we can achieve, but our goal should be to achieve that most positive success for ourselves, our families, and our loved ones. In the work that I do, I see a lot of times that people are looking for instant success, quick fame, and quick riches and fortune and things of that sort. And sometimes it leads to a negative success. And that negative success sometimes looks like someone usually creating chaos, expecting sudden or street stardom. So looking for someone to know your name, to know who you are, and in a lot of cases, doing that comes in a space of creating mischief and creating things and confusion within the community and within families. And sometimes that success can look a little shattered. It can look as though we can't come back from it. We can't achieve our goals now because we may have messed up or caused harm. And that shattered success sometimes causes us to feel empty. And we want to make sure that we're doing our best to, if we have even come across negative success, how do we repair that? And how do we move forward in a positive manner? And that can actually be done by thinking of success as someone understanding creativity, choosing excellence, showing strength. And in doing so, we find ourselves on a path of positive success where we can actually use the creative energy, the ingenuity, the inventiveness that we have within ourselves to move in a positive direction. And it can show strength that we're able to overcome challenges and obstacles as well. A large part of success has to do with your habits. And when we look at success and study successful people, which has been done throughout the decades of life, we do notice there's some patterns that happen in their habits. And habits are those things that we do on a regular basis, but it starts with one time of having done it, right? Just that one time that we do something can begin to create or form a pattern or a habit. So then it turns into a week of doing something, and then we may find ourselves doing that thing 15 days straight. And after a while, we begin to do it unconsciously, and that could be a year and a lifetime that we have now had this habit and we're carrying on doing things. So there are some positive habits that we might have. And some of those positive habits might be our hygiene, brushing our teeth, taking a bath, haircuts, nails, all of those things can be positive habits that we have picked up over time. I often talk about the example of brushing our teeth as a definite habit that many of us have. So if you all take a moment and just think about how you brush your teeth, you might want to close your eyes and just imagine how you might have done it this morning, or you might do it later today if you haven't done it yet. And you might think about, how do you put your toothpaste on your brush? What hand do you use? It's probably the same hand like 99% of the time. Then you think about, okay, what part of my mouth do I normally put the toothbrush in first? Probably the same part of your mouth you do 99% of the time. And then you think about the pattern in which you brush your teeth. Do you start right up and down? Do you go side to side? Do you go in circles? All of that is part of habits that have been formed over the years of you brushing your teeth. And you do it without even thinking about it being done. Other habits, such as your health, your exercise, what you eat, good friendships, developing relationships, and getting rest, those are also habits that sometimes take a little longer to maybe form and to stick. And so what people say is, if you have a habit or something that you're trying to make a habit, or you're doing even unintentionally for 15 days or more, it begins to become embedded or ingrained in you, and you begin to do it without really consciously thinking of it. Other things that, such as studying, developing a skill, thinking positively, organizing, asking for help, keeping at something, it may take a little longer for it to become just a solidified habit, but it does become a way of life. And that also can lead to a lifetime of habits that could see success, positive success, pride. You can have awards, legacy, fulfillment. You can have the honor, you have mentor, you become a mentor to others, and you can create or invent new things through the habits that you form. So thinking about positive habits, there are also negative habits. And so negative habits can come in the form of smoking, drinking, drug use, things of that nature that can cause consequences that we don't want for ourselves and we would rather do without. So thinking of smoking a cigarette, you just do that one time. And sometimes people think it looks cool or it's adult-like to do it. Then you think of the idea that if you've done it once, it may become a habit where you're picking up 2, 3, 4 cigarettes a week. And then that can turn into a habit within 15 days or so. Maybe you're doing a pack of cigarettes. And then that can turn into a year where you're thinking that, okay, I was only going to do this one time, but now I'm spending a lot of time. I'm spending a lot of money on cigarettes. You may be going through packs a day or just even a few packs a week, which adds up. And then you find yourself having issues such as your heart health or your lung health being challenged and complications down the road because that habit has now become a lifetime addiction or difficulty. And even with what we have right now, as far as respiratory disease and viruses, you want to be really careful not to create a habit that can cause you to be more susceptible to those things as time goes forward. And we want to make sure that we're trying to stay away from those danger zones of negative habits. So thinking about habits, and as we study habits, we do understand that habits can become addictions. And if we look at F. Matthias Alexander, he is quoted as saying, "People do not decide their futures, they decide their habits, and their habits decide their futures." So what you do oftentimes does dictate what happens and even what or who we become. So we want to be really careful with that. And sometimes addictions begin with just experimentation. As we talked about, just that one cigarette or that one drug use or that one time using alcohol, and it turns into us using it on a regular basis. Sometimes it's to meet the needs that we have or to fill a void that we may be having in our life. And it becomes to the point where we're doing it so often, we're abusing it. And it becomes an addiction. And an addiction, you're doing something over and over again, and you're not in full control of it. And it becomes very difficult to stop. Even when you may see the negative consequences of that behavior, it can become something that overwhelms you. It can cause harm to yourself, to your family, to your loved ones. And sometimes even when we know we shouldn't be and we should be stopping, it becomes really difficult. And we may find ourselves in a place where we need to be in recovery and to work to break those habits that we have formed over time. And that's recovery where we're taking our time and we're thinking and processing through what we have done and hopefully developing new habits that are going to be positive and help us stay away from, again, going back to experimentation, using, abusing, addiction, and going through that pattern that can be very destructive. So in thinking about that, Shaquille O'Neal, Hall of Fame basketball player, he wrote, or he's quoted as saying, "I like to be known as the big Aristotle, because Aristotle once said, excellence is not a singular act, it's a habit. You are what you repeatedly do." So thinking about how we create patterns in our lives and habits in our lives is something that we're often doing over and over and over again to a point where it becomes unconscious, subconscious, and we're just doing things without thinking. And it becomes who we are, unfortunately. So we want to think about that. And we want to look, how do we take the qualities that can lead us to success and apply them to our lives? So we have a number of different aspects of our lives that we can look at and use to form better habits. So to put the pieces of that puzzle together, we're looking at working hard, being confident, taking time to reward ourselves for our achievements and positivity. We want to also form the habits of giving back, making sure that we're sharing with others what we have done and what we have, and allowing them an opportunity to be successful as well. Being persistent, sticking at it. Even sometimes when things are difficult and challenging, for positive success, we want to stick to it and keep pushing. Taking responsibility is also a very important characteristic of someone who is going to be positively successful. Also, knowing that we have to keep learning, that we have to keep focusing and keep getting new ideas and new thoughts and seeing what's being done and being done. And then also that forming of networks. Networks are great groups of people that we learn from, we share with, that we build with, and finding people that might be doing things that we are interested in and adding them to our network for support, for ideas, for ways to maybe do something that we're thinking about. And that will help us form a better path to positive success. So having that in mind, we want to make sure that we're working towards that success by setting our goals, understanding our obstacles, creating a plan, choose helpful habits, explore opportunities, stay on track, and show the world that we can do it. So setting our goals is very important, and we're going to talk about that in another lesson of goal setting on what does that really look like and how do we define goals for ourselves that are going to help us be on the best track toward positive success. Understanding the obstacles, so we're looking at those challenges that might be there before us and recognizing what could be challenges before us, before they even happen. In creating that plan, we're choosing those healthy habits and helpful habits that are going to keep us on track. We're looking for the opportunities. So when I talked about the networking, looking at who can we talk to, who can we share with, who can we build with to become more successful. Staying on track and showing the world it can be done. So when you're thinking about your own habits, if you would like to maybe take a moment and you can just pause this right here after I finish explaining everything, and you can think about some maybe healthy habits that you already have. Healthy habits such as the food you eat or the friends you have, the family, things of that nature. What are some healthy habits? And then you could also be honest with yourself, think of some unhealthy habits. So you can maybe list 3 to 5 each. What are some healthy habits or unhealthy habits you have? And you could do that now if you want, and you could pause this right here, and we'll be coming right back to continue with you. So when you're thinking about habits, and some of the habits maybe you have listed, something to think about that's very important is what habits do you want to start doing that you maybe not doing right now? What will bring you greater health and more happiness to your life and to the world around you? So thinking of what I might want to start doing. So is there a habit that you could think of, even right now, that you might want to pick up that you haven't already started? Then we're also wanting to look at what habits do we have that we would want to stop doing? Those habits you know that are hurting you or will only grow stronger and cause perhaps negativity in your life or your world and your family. So what is a habit or habits that you could stop doing? So you could go ahead and write those down. And then lastly, what is a habit or habits that you would love to continue doing because they feel good and that they're good for you? So we want to make sure that even if they feel good but they're not good for us, we might not want to continue to do those. But if it's good for you and it's feeling good and you're feeling like you're getting something out of it, what is something that you would want to continue to do? So take a moment, and if you want to, again, grab a sheet of paper and think of one habit, at least one, that you'd want to start to do, one you would want to stop doing, and one you'd want to continue doing. And if you would like, you can list as many as you want in each of those categories. With that, I want to thank you all very much for your time and your listening. And I hope this helps you get an idea of what success can look like for you as you build that path to success. I want you to continue working hard and keep up your efforts toward your goals and success. Never stop learning. That is the most important thing that anyone can have and apply to their life. Keep learning, keep moving, and keep motivating and being motivated. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you soon.